Hi everybody! Thank you for coming in today. I am going to teach you guys today about copyright, why it's so important, and what to do and what not to do. So here we go. This is our copyright guide. Alright, so first off, why are copyright rules so important? Why is it ethical? Why do we have to do it? Why do we even have to think about it, Miss J? Well, I'm going to tell you. Because copyright protects the products and information that is put out there by people. And people who have jobs as artists or distributors or producers work really, really hard, guys, to produce their products and information. So it's just ethical and fair and just to respect the copyright. The term copyright refers to the legal rights of an original work. Fun fact for you. So a lot of times when people put information and products and resources out there, it's because they've worked hard on their own to put the information out there and to develop their products and to make sure that the information is viable and that everything looks good and makes sense. And when people want to use those resources or information, it's really not fair of those people to not list the copyright information or to even cite the information if they're using fair use, which I'll go over in just a second. So that's why it's so important, and it's really important for you guys to remember that whenever you're working on assignments, because copyrighted products do require some sort of permission, and if you don't have the permission, then that is copyright infringement, which you can get in lots and lots of trouble for, and we don't want that. All right, some more info on copyright. So copyright protects the financial interests of creators, producers, and distributors of original works, like I was telling you guys about. People work hard to put their stuff together, and when it's an original work, that means that they came up with it, guys. They were the ones who did all of the work and made sure that everything was in line and everything looked pretty and sounded good, and it was all their hard work. Without copyright law, artists, writers, and media producers would not receive compensation for their work. That means that they're not going to get paid, which is definitely not okay, right? Artists and writers and media producers all want to get paid for the work that they do because it's difficult. Not everybody can do what they do. And for them not to receive compensation, for them not to be able to get paid for that is very, very unfair. So that is why that is so important. And then it is our legal and ethical responsibility to abide by these rules put in place. If you're unsure about copyright, if something is copyrighted, make sure you ask me for school copyright guidelines. I do have those. I would be happy to email them to your teacher or to get you guys a copy. All right, like I said, next up is fair use. So fair use is kind of an umbrella term. There are a few things that fall under the term fair use. So real quick, this provides an important copyright exception for teachers and students. Yay, us. Small portions of works may be used if cited properly and copyright is noted. So let's look at that term real quick. Small portions of works. Well, you might be saying, Miss J, what's a small portion? Is that like a couple of sentences, a couple of words? Is it a paragraph? Is it 5 seconds of a video? What does that mean? So there really is no exact legal amount for you to use in fair use. It's all kind of just subjective and kind of up to your discretion and your teacher's discretion, of course, as to what is too much not to cite or too much not to get permission for when you're using a copyrighted product. So first I'll go over amount. So using a smaller amount of the total work is much more likely to be considered fair than using a larger amount. Obviously, if you're using a huge chunk of, I don't know, a movie or a Pixar short, that is not going to be considered fair use. Definitely, because Disney does not like their copyrighted stuff to be used for purposes. Definitely not. Or anything else for that matter. Even if we're talking about like an article or a book, anything can be copyrighted, guys. Or a lot of things can. So definitely be aware of that. If you're not sure, always go small. You only use what you really need to. Using a smaller amount of the total work is, you're way safer doing that than trying to use like a whole chunk. Next up is purpose. So using a work for educational purpose is more likely to be considered fair than for entertainment or commercial gain, which I don't think you guys are going to be doing at the elementary level, right? So using stuff for commercial gain basically is just like advertising, right? You're trying to gain something from it. You're trying to get money or have yourself or your products or your information be advertised. I know that's not what you guys are doing. Obviously, you're going to be using it for educational purposes in the classroom, and so that part of it does make it available to be used for fair use. Next up is the effect of use. So this is kind of use that negatively affects the potential sales of the original work, weighs against fair use. So you definitely don't want to use the work in a way that is going to decline sales for the work or product or resource or whatever it is that you're using that is copyrighted. Because then the creator, the owner, will probably, receive a decline in sales, which they definitely don't want. Next up is seeking permission. So real quick, as a librarian, I can seek permission to use a work for educational purposes because we are a school. Yay! If you or your teacher find a work or a resource that you think would be beneficial to your classroom or to our school, please let me know. I can definitely see if there is funding. I can go and talk to our principals to see if we can pay for the copyright fee. So that way that product can be enjoyed here in your classroom, in the library, at school. Please let me know so that I can find out. I would much rather you come and talk to me than to participate in copyright infringement, which I definitely don't want. Okay, so next up is what can be copyrighted. A lot of stuff, guys. A lot of stuff can be copyrighted. So literary works like books or plays, those are definitely copyrighted. Musical works like songs, or even if you're just using like little bits of song lyrics, those are also copyrighted. Dramatic works and movies, so again, like plays, entire movies, Pixar shorts, anything like that, those are all copyrighted. Music videos, definitely music videos, kind of like songs, right? So first of all, the music video has the artist performing in it, and then there's also probably producers and directors, and like lots of people had to put work into that music video, and then for somebody else to come and use it and not even pay attention to the copyright or not even cite it correctly, definitely a big no-no. Next up is art forms such as paintings or sculptures. Yes, even paintings or sculptures can be copyrighted. Again, because an artist had to create those. They had to take things from their imagination and make them into something. They took nothing and they made it into something amazing and beautiful for all kinds of people to view and enjoy. And so that's definitely something that can be copyrighted and something that you're going to have to seek permission for or just use a very teeny tiny amount of. And last, yes, guys, even TikToks are copyrightable. And the music that you can use when making a TikTok, for some reason, I did look that up, and it doesn't look like that violates any copyright. However, if you're using an actual TikTok that somebody made and you're not citing it or you're not giving them credit of any kind, that is definitely copyright infringement. So avoid that. Okay. And then, Ms. J, how do I know if something is copyrighted? So here are some helpful tips to let you know. This symbol, the C with a circle around it, that tells you that something is copyrighted. The year of the first publication of the work, and then also the name of the copyright owner. I believe that all three of these need to be listed somewhere on the resource or bit of information or whatever it is that you are trying to use. So you'll know for sure. Usually the big C with a circle around it is a pretty good indicator, but all three of these will need to be mentioned on there somewhere. Okay, and then how do I cite when using a work if it's fair use? So I have a couple of resources here for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and just escape here for a minute. There we go. And I'm going to click on this link, and I'm just going to go through it very, very quickly. So here are some resources about citing sources such as books, encyclopedia articles, online magazine articles, internet sites, which I know is going to be a big one for you guys with the project coming up, online images or sounds, excuse me. And then it gives you an example of how you should cite it. And then, of course, if that's too confusing, you can just look at this and it tells you exactly what to write. Very, very simple and straightforward. The other link that I had listed was a PDF of works cited for grades 1 through 6, which is super easy. So for first grade, even something as simple as citing a book, name of the author and title of the book, here we are. And then it goes all the way up to 6th grade for citing even chapters in a book, articles from databases, articles for a web page or an article on a web page, videos, encyclopedias, more databases. This PDF is really, really helpful. And then, of course, I do have this Padlet that I made recently, all about citation. And it does say citation for 8th graders, but really this is helpful for anybody. I really did try to make sure that a lot of the resources that I have here are user-friendly to most students. I do have EasyBib and LibGuides and Relink Schools, which give information about how to cite sources. And then I have how to cite a tweet, how to cite a TikTok references, how to cite an Instagram post, citation for beginners, plagiarism, all of that super fun stuff. So make sure that you go and take a look through that. This Padlet is super, super helpful, and I do recommend you guys using it. Your teacher will be getting a copy of this, and so she can share this with all of you. Let me see. Next up. Excuse me. All right. Thanks, guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask or have your teacher email me. Here are my resources. I cited the book that I was using, as well as listing the websites. Thank you so much. Thank you to Slides Go for this phenomenal presentation. And thank you guys for coming in.